The Cuyahoga County Council Committee of the Whole, the last one of 2026. For Tuesday, December 9th, 2025 at 2:30 p.m. It's now about 2:36. It will please come to order, and I'd ask the clerk to call the roll.
Good afternoon, everyone. As a reminder to all in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county's YouTube page. Also, as a reminder to all meeting attendees seeking parking validation for today's meeting, please be sure to scan the QR code located on the back table near the chamber's entrance to claim your discount. If you do not already have a Metropolis account, you will need your license plate number to set up the account in advance of receiving your discount. Please be sure to complete this prior to the end of today's meeting, as the QR code will be removed at the conclusion of the meeting. Calling the roll, Ms. Conwell.
Present.
Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones is absent at the moment. Ms. Turner.
Present.
Mr. Hauser is absent at the moment. Ms. Simon is absent at the moment. Mr. Kelly,
Here.
Mr. Sweeney,
Present.
Mr. Castleberry,
Here.
Mr. Gallagher is absent at the moment. Mr. Schlepper,
Here.
Council President Miller,
Present.
you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is public comment. Has anybody signed in?
No public comment has been received.
Thank you very much. And our next item is the discussion on the tax increment financing incentive districts, and Greg Huth will make the presentation for us.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Council President. You folks may recall that back in mid-October, I was here on this same subject. At that time, the city of Brecksville had notified us of their intent to create 6 TIF districts. At the time, the council also passed then a resolution objecting to those, the creation of those districts. We have had a good meeting with Brecksville. We know what they're doing now. We've got a little bit of understanding of where it's going. In that case, as I explained at the time, if the community and the city are not able to reach agreement, there's a default position in the statute that says beginning in year 11, because I'm sorry for all the backtracking. Those were 30-year TIFs of 100%. Beginning in year 11, then we would, under the default provision, we would get half of what we would otherwise get if there were for the TIF exemption. So at that point, or at this point, that's where we stand with the city of Brecksville. December 3rd, that was just last Wednesday, we received notice from both the City of Independence and the City of Brooklyn of their intent to create similar districts. In the case of Independence, it's a single district of about 60 single-family homes. In the case of Brooklyn, it's 3 different districts that, again, totals about 60. I think they're either single-family or townhomes. Again, in both cases, they want to have the exemptions in place for 30 years at 100% of the new value that this construction will add to the property. Our recommendation, I think, from the law department is that, again, we look at resolutions or consider resolutions to object to the formation of those. The purpose really just gets us to the table with them so we get a better understanding of what's going on out there, how they plan on financing the projects overall, what they plan on using the money for, because these TIF districts do take tax money out of the county's pocket, and it puts it with the city so they can control how it's used. Now, in both of these cases, they're keeping their school districts whole, so that's not an issue, but all of the other taxing entities would be affected by these TIF districts. So again, this just gets us to the table so we can talk with them about how the money's going to be used, if there's a way we can get some of the compensation back for the county to make up for, our own tax revenue or attribute to our own tax revenues, we could do that. But again, if we don't reach agreement with them, then we'd go to the fallback positions in the statute. So starting in year 11, we'd get half of what we would otherwise get but for the TIF tax exemptions. I know that was pretty quick, so I'm happy to answer any questions.
So, to Mr. Huth, am I correct that under the state law, if we're going to object, we're required to do it within 30 days of receiving the letter, meaning that because of our upcoming break that we would have to take action at today's meeting if we're going to take action?
Yes, Mr. President, that's correct. I'm sorry, I should have started off with that. That's why we're here. That's why this is kind of a last-minute thing, because we're not going to have another meeting within 30 days after the December 3rd.
So I'm going to see if any of my colleagues have any questions, and then following that, Brooklyn Mayor Ron Van Kirk does have concerns about our contemplated action, and I'm going to call him forward in a moment to present to us. Yes, Councilman Sweeney.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hey, Greg.
Howdy.
How are you?
So good. So far, so good.
Good. This is last minute, right?
Yes.
When I heard about it, the council president asked me to call the mayor in the district I represent, Brooklyn, Councilman Schlepper. They asked to call theirs. And when I called, I found out that they were unaware. So the mayor's going to come up and give his thoughts on it. But with mine and the negotiations. Tell me what's going to be negotiated. How is Brecksville right now in regards to the negotiation? And your statement was you just gets us to the table. And when you're to the table, one person has one position coming in, the other entity has a position, and negotiations come up with a mutual outcome that's
Something in the
different than
middle.
each
Right.
other one. So you tell me what your thoughts on what could be negotiated in regards to trying to help a city out and trying to protect the county at the same time, but both are integral to each other's existence.
Certainly, Councilman, to the chair, there's a whole, as you said, there's a whole range of options here. The statute goes anywhere from 10 to 30 years. We could pick a different period of time in there. Anywhere from 75% up to 100%, we could pick a different,
Oh, so it's anything that could be negotiated within the,
almost anything we can think of in that range, yes. But again, there's a fallback,
yeah.
that if we don't reach agreement, then starting in year 11, the county would get up half of what it would otherwise get.
Yeah, and through the chair. So basically, do you know all the details of the Brooklyn's game plan?
Nope, and that's part of the reason we need to get to the table with them.
Oh, that's, yeah, because I learned a little bit about it. There's a case to be made on the significant investments Brooklyn's putting in,
correct.
and the open mind and have the confidence with the administration to
Right.
sit down, and the negotiating entity is whoever the city wants and whoever the county is.
Right.
Are you part of it? And is this something like our bond council's involved, or is it?
No.
What kind of stuff is
We
this?
wouldn't, my opinion, we don't need to go outside counsel for these. I've done a lot of TIFs over the years.
Yeah, I'm just
So I
curious.
understand, because if we were financing something, then yes, but that's not the purpose of this. The TIF is, I don't know, again, what the city's going to be doing. A lot of times TIFs are used to help finance the project. What we learned from Brecksville's, though, is that the developer is upfronting all the costs for the infrastructure. They're trying to build a pot of money to maintain that infrastructure going forward, or if the new development puts additional demands on the new infrastructure to maintain that going forward. So again, this isn't your typical tax exemption. It works a little bit differently. But again, it takes money out of our pocket.
And my last is, so right now, 100% for 30 years, or 100% for 10 years, 50% for the next 20 years are the two extremes.
100% for 30 years or 75% for 10 years, I would say, are the two extremes.
Yeah, I'm just going with what the default is through the chair. It's the 10 years for 100 and
Yeah.
for the
or
next
the
is
last
50.
20, I see what you're saying. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
And then-
Sorry, to the chair, yes.
And through my council president, that's where the negotiations, if
Right.
they have some movement, will fall within those parameters.
Correct.
And did this have anything to do with the city of Cleveland's, what happened? Because we did this big TIF, and we did,
They did, going to get a little wonky here. These TIFs are done under 5709.40C of the Ohio Revised Code. The city of Cleveland did theirs under 5709.40B of the Ohio Revised Code. They can do that because they're what's called an impacted city.
Got it.
Impacted city, whereas most of our suburbs are not.
yeah, so this is just, because it's our county seat or whatever, our biggest city in our county, they can use a different Ohio Revised Code.
They can use a different, it's not because of the county seat, but they can use a different provision of the Ohio Revised Code. An impacted city has to do with the amount of blight within the confines
I'll
of the
just
city.
have to get deeper on that.
Yeah.
And on that point, the code section that the city of Cleveland filed under, we did not have the opportunity to object to
That's
that.
correct.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay,
Yes.
That's what I figured.
okay.
Greg, I look forward to your involvement with this process. I know I've known you for a very long time, and you're one of the greatest public servants I know. So, look, you know that. You don't like to boast. Thank you, Mr. President.
So for the record, Councilman Hauser is now present. Any other questions?
Councilman Gallagher is present as well.
Thank you. Okay, Councilman Gallagher.
Do we have any idea what the Cleveland billion-dollar TIF cost us, the Metro Parks and the various other entities that would have otherwise been getting money?
Yeah, we've run those numbers. I don't have them with me, but we've run them. We have them. We can get them to you.
I've heard upwards of $50 million for all.
I don't remember. And
Over, what, 30 years?
And you know, me trying to remember numbers hasn't been.
Okay, well. Yeah, okay, understood. Yeah, well, with friends like that, who needs enemies, right? Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Schlepper.
Hi there, and through the chair, I just wanted to ask, just, to state it publicly, it's standard operating procedure for there to be an objection typically from the county with these types of TIF districts, right? So it would be assumed that the county would probably object or have an objection to this and want to kind of sit down with the municipality. That's pretty much typical. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman of the councilman, yes, and there was 140C TIF out in Independence that got past us a few years ago, but obviously our financial issues have varied quite a bit in the last few years, so we're focusing on these a little bit more right now. But I think the one for Bexel was the first time we did it.
Thank you.
On that point, just on that
Councilman
point,
Sweetman.
it's just through my colleague. When you say it's typical, this is the position that is done, it's only happened once before. So there's no typical, unless the administration has made a policy it's going to be this way. And I think it's case by case would be my guess.
Well, I can't comment on whether anything that's going to happen, but I think it's the right thing to do at this point.
Yeah, so I just want to be clear on, from my perspective of, it's the county's way they do business, and this is all new for us, my understanding. Thank you for letting me have a point, Mr. President.
Okay, now I'm going to call forward Mayor Ron Van Kirk of Brooklyn. I felt that it wasn't appropriate to make the mayor squeeze his comments into the 2 minutes for public comment, and that it would be better to include his concerns as part of the hearing process on this piece of legislation. So I would invite you to give us a 5-minute summary, 5 minutes or less, of what your concerns are.
Thank you,
And
Council
then
President.
after that, if any colleagues have any questions for the mayor, they can ask them.
Thank you, Council President. Appreciate your time, and also thank you, Director, for your words there as well. So it was stated that no one here knows what this project is about, so I want to kind of paint the picture for you. So a number of years ago, the city of Brooklyn began the process of updating and implementing our city's master plan. As part of this process, the city took on the 2-year task and expense of updating our zoning code and our zoning map, which I know is a huge emphasis for the county right now because many of the zoning codes and maps in our communities are outdated. Our residents approved the map in May of 2023. One of the goals that came out of this master plan was to see new housing built in our city. Brooklyn has not had housing built on a large scale in more than 30 years. In order to see this goal realized, the city had to purchase a number of parcels and homes to cobble together enough property to see this goal realized. This process was begun by my predecessor, Mayor Katie Gallagher. When Mrs. Gallagher transitioned to her new position here at the county, my administration picked up where she left off and continued to move that progress forward. Now, after years of work and thousands of Brooklyn tax dollars spent, the city has been able to rezone, been able to acquire various properties, and we've been able to plan for the building of new homes in our city. We have partnered with a developer, and the process to see these new homes realized is well underway. As with any build, there are many issues that have to be resolved. In our case, there were numerous title issues with a number of the properties that we were trying to acquire. There are soil issues that have to be accounted for, as much of the land is fill, as very common in our county. Utilities have to be moved, new utilities have to be added, and new infrastructure has to be installed. One by one, Brooklyn has worked and continues to work to solve each of these challenges. Each of these requires a great deal of time and a great deal of money. All of this has been at the expense of the Brooklyn taxpayer. Brooklyn is pleased to see this project moving forward, and the hope is that at this time next year, the builder will be in the process of building 62 brand-new townhomes in our city. This project is exciting and long overdue in our community. As part of this process, the city hired outside counsel to draft TIF legislation to allow Brooklyn to recoup some of the hundreds of thousands of dollars in current and future infrastructure costs that our city will incur as a result of this project. The city has and will continue to use funds that we have on hand to pay for these costs. and would like to use the TIF service payments to reimburse the Brooklyn taxpayers for these Brooklyn expenses. The TIF legislation has been drafted, the public hearing has been held, it's been introduced to our council, and the proper parties have been notified. When the city held our public hearing last week about this TIF, I presented to our community the benefits of this legislation and how it would greatly increase money going to our schools, as well as to help the city pay for the costs of this project. This is an exciting time for our community and is a project that is ready to be completed. Then just last week, I received an email from the county executive's office stating that the county is objecting to the TIF districts being established in the city of Brooklyn. I would like to thank Councilman Sweeney for being the first to inform me of this objection and for discussing with me the objection itself. The email from the executive's office read in part, quote, "Cuyahoga County intends to object to the TIFs in order to open a dialogue with you and your administration. This is the county's, quote, default practice in order to determine whether any proposed TIF meets the county policy objectives while preserving the ability to preserve revenues to fund the services that Cuyahoga County provides to our shared citizens." To say this came as a surprise to me and my administration is an understatement. I immediately called our outside TIF counsel to ask if this was normal for the county, since in our numerous conversations, it was never one time brought up. They stated that they have written numerous residential TIFs in Cuyahoga County as well as surrounding counties and have never had a county object to a residential TIF. Per this email, there are two items behind the objection. One, county policy objectives, two, county revenue. Since the additional housing has been discussed at length by the county, this bill obviously meets a county policy objective to see new housing built within our communities. So the only other reason for the objection per this email would be money. And this was confirmed in a conversation that I had with Council President Miller last week. For context, this Brooklyn project is $19 million, the overall budget for the project. Here's the issues that I have with the objection. Number one of the following statements would seem to be true. There has been a complete lack of communication to the 59 county communities of this policy, causing confusion. The county is choosing, it seems, to which TIF projects it objects to and which it doesn't. To say this is a default policy of the county would mean that the communities, all 59 of them, should have been informed of this. There are numerous residential TIF districts that have been adopted in our county, including Cleveland's, which was just mentioned, yet only Brooklyn's, and I wasn't going to mention it, but since it was brought up here, the city of Brecksville's has been objected to. Brecksville's was objected to almost 2 months ago, and to my knowledge, until today, it was not resolved. This objection policy is the county's prerogative, has already been stated per Ohio Revised Code. I do not agree with this policy as I believe it to be counterproductive. But if the county wishes to object to all residential TIFs moving forward, this should have been clearly communicated with all of the county's communities. Had Brooklyn known of this policy, we would have reached out to the county months ago for discussions. Instead, we followed the previous practice of the county not objecting. Now the entire project is being held up because per our purchase agreement with the developer, they cannot close on the property until the TIF district is in place. The county objection is holding up this process. Number two, the dollar amount. Based upon this objection, I once again reached out to our TIF council and asked them to produce a best case scenario for the county's portion of the service payments. The number they're going to read to you is their number. It is in opposition to what I was told the county has, but it's $14,000 to $15,000 a year. There seems to be a discrepancy again between the two numbers. But with a proposed budget of nearly $2 billion next year for the county, this does not seem to be a productive use of time and energy to object to our city's TIF. To be respectful of your time, I'm going to push forward with just towards the end of my remarks. The city itself has or will in the very near future pay $600,000 in infrastructure costs that we would like to use these TIF dollars to reimburse ourselves for. That is just current costs. There will be additional costs, the infrastructure costs that come up in future years as this development moves forward. This does not include the cost that the city had to incur to buy properties, to have those properties prepared to be developed once again. Those are not recoverable by TIF, and the city has taken responsibility for that. Additionally, since 2 of these 3 parcels are owned by the city, without this development, there will be zero benefit to the county at any point. As stated earlier, I spoke with Council President Miller last week. He stated that the county is facing millions of dollars in shortfalls and will have to cut programs. I respect that. As a result, these type of objections will be made. In my personal opinion, I find it bad policy to attempt to overcome county financial shortfalls on the backs of municipalities' local property owners. This is a TIF, meaning the county will continue to receive what they are already receiving based upon the current values of the property. The county is not losing any money. The TIF simply allows Brooklyn to collect service payments for a time on the increased value of the project to assist in paying for Brooklyn infrastructure that the city, not the county, is responsible for. In conclusion, it is very disheartening as a mayor in this county to see this objection being made in this manner. We were given zero notice of this policy. As a result of this lack of communication, and since Brooklyn was acting on a previous precedent held by the county, I am humbly requesting this objection be removed, allowing Brooklyn to stay on time with our redevelopment of these parcels, and to allow for the city to use these service payments to benefit the residents of our city, since they are going to be the ones that are making these service payments. Additionally, I would request that the county inform every community of this policy and allow them time to adjust their TIF legislation and timeline accordingly so that communities do not find themselves in a similar situation. I believe I went over 5 minutes, but I thank you for your time, Council President.
Okay. You went over, but not by much, it's fine. Are there any questions for the mayor? Councilman Sweeney, followed by
I'd
Gallagher.
rather have Councilman
Okay.
Gallagher go.
Is there somebody from the administration that could answer to this? Are you up?
I can try.
I'll be the first to admit, I'm not very familiar with residential TIFs, but this is a dying county. People are fleeing. And to push residents out to Summit or Lake or Lorraine or Medina is ridiculous. So there must have been a reason, and I would like to hear from the administration.
Mr. Chairman, to the councilman, I can take a stab at this because I've had a lot of discussions with him, but as I said in
Did you make the decision?
I made the recommendation.
Okay,
And
why would you make that recommendation?
Because again, these TIFs are, we're going to be seeing more of these. It's being predicted, we're going to see more of these.
I
So
get it. It's a tool.
It's a tool, and
Please direct the questions through the chair and one at a time.
Through the chair, you could go ahead and answer.
Mr. Chairman, we're going to be seeing more of these over time, and we need to establish a precedent. As the mayor noted, I'm only aware of one other 40C before the one that came up in Brecksville that we didn't object to at the time. It's 4 or 5 years ago now. But the other residential TIFs, the one, as I said, in the city of Cleveland, was done under a different section of the ORC that doesn't give us the opportunity to object. But I think before, we need to sit at the table with these folks to find out what the plan is, and better understand what the project's going to do, what it can do for them, for us, to make a decision then about going forward. And we can, you can put the objection in place now, and if we don't come to an agreement anytime between now and year 11, we could repeal it, and they could continue on their merry way. So.
Mr. President, those of us that have represented smaller communities and mid-sized communities understand the tool that TIFs provide. And especially when you're dealing, I would imagine, with residential, and sitting at the table would be good. The mayor just testified under oath they weren't aware of it. So how do you sit at a table that's not set?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I can only point out that the notice that the city of Brooklyn provided specifically says that the county may object in the notice that they sent us last week. So it's in the ORC. So I can't speak to any further than that. So.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think what we have here, we're in our 15th year, and we spent a lot of time getting communities to trust us. And it took a long time to do that because nobody trusted the county, especially what we went through. But over time, we were building that bridge. And I see this as an opportunity to destroy that bridge if we're not careful, especially understanding the amount being so small. and understanding that we do have budgetary problems. But I'll tell you, if you want to hang around later, you're going to hear what I think about the budgetary problems. And it isn't financial, it's spending. Spending. It's how you spend your money. And being in your position as a mayor, which I think the worst jobs in this county are mayors and township trustees, because everything falls on your desk. So unless there's a better explanation from the administration on this, I think we're destroying that bridge that we were building. So I don't know what you want to do here, but I don't know how we can let this mayor walk out of here without an answer.
So Councilman Sweeney is next.
Thank you, Mr. President. Hello, Mayor. How are you? I start like that all the time. December 3rd, your document came.
Yes, sir.
And we are crunch time here, and there's some discussion of coming at the last minute and stuff. Can you tell me the path why
Sure.
December 3rd?
So many of you would not know how I run the city of Brooklyn, nor should you. But our city is very proactive in how we handle things like this. Mr. Gallagher, I appreciate your comments about the difficulty that many of the mayors struggle. I count it an honor to serve the residents of Brooklyn, but it can be a very difficult job. The city has, for nearly a decade now, been trying to find a way to accomplish one of the county objectives, which is to see additional housing built within the county. Our county, for the most part, unless you get further out into the outer ring suburbs, is all built out. Brooklyn is no exception. We are the quintessential inner ring suburb. We are surrounded on three sides by Cleveland and to the south by Parma. So it has taken us 5, 6, 7, 8 years to cobble together enough property to be able to do this. We are not residential TIF experts either. That is why we hired outside counsel to draft this legislation for us. We have met with them numerous times, again, have spent substantial dollars to make sure that we do this correctly, that all of our Ts are crossed and our Is are dotted. And notifying the county was simply checking of the box. There was never any discussion that the county would object to this TIF. And to be perfectly frank with you, I don't understand why the county would object to this. With respect to the gentleman that spoke earlier, I understand where they're coming from, but it doesn't make any sense. We're trying to accomplish the same objective here. We're trying to find a way to build residents, additional homes in our county, which is, I've heard members of this council say numerous times, and that's what we're doing. All the city of Brooklyn is asking for is to allow us to take the service payments that our Brooklyn residents are going to be paying and use those dollars to help pay for some of the infrastructure and the costs that are associated with it. Now, some of the costs are not recoverable. Purchasing a property is not TIF eligible. But infrastructure, right now, Cleveland Public Power is on the property moving a utility line that's in the way right now. Brooklyn has to pay for that. And so these TIF dollars are to go towards that. And it does seem counterproductive for the county to punish us. I don't want to use that term because you're not really punishing us, but to take those dollars away from Brooklyn and use them for other priorities when there is a need in our city. Yes, you're going to see a lot of these residential TIFs because the ORC updated the law and it has made it more advantageous for communities to do this. And the reason why we didn't come to the county sooner is I had no idea that the county would object to this. I can only go by what our TIF council has told us. Our TIF council has written these TIF legislative documents in this county and surrounding counties, and they have never had an objection. I spoke with another law director today from another community, has never heard of the county objecting to a TIF. I've only been mayor for 3 years, so my history doesn't go back that far. But it did come as quite a surprise, and this is holding up our project.
And thank you. I just have one more. And just basically, it was bad timing, right? Your process of going to complete your project, it happened to be the letter to the county, just happens to be 2 days before our last council meeting for the year, and then the clock started ticking through the Ohio Revised Code. That's how I would just sum it
Right,
up.
but like I said before, had we known that the county
Yeah.
was going to object to this, we would have had these conversations months ago.
Yeah, and that's what but I just want to talk about the reality of the arrival of the letter, because there's been different thought processes around it.
No, it was simply the next step.
Yeah.
And that's what we did.
And through my president to the mayor, when you when are you available to start the negotiations? Tomorrow?
My goal here is that the objection is withdrawn. But if the county does decide to go forward with that, with the objection, which again, I would hope that they would not, we'll set up negotiations as quickly as possible. Like I said, this objection is holding up the project.
And through my president to our law director, when would the county be available to begin the negotiations?
Just as far as I know, we could start tomorrow.
Good.
And I've got a lot of stuff on my calendar, but we could start tomorrow.
And through the chair to a fellow public servants, that would be my request, and I would push to that because it's all boiling down to, because it's going to pass today. It's all boiling down to the reality and the confidence I have with this administration to talk with the city of Brooklyn, which happens to be in my district, and a great city. This mayor's doing a great job. The previous mayor did a great job. It's a great community that you will negotiate in good faith and something will come out of this. And after you're learning all the intricacies of this project, with the mayor gave a high-level view and there's more minute details or granular details that's going to hopefully come to a solution that helps this project move forward, as I said, and protect the city's or the county's interest in our $2 billion budget. Thank you, Mr. President.
So, Conwell.
Through the chair to Mr. Huth, is there any harm to the county from this residential TIF?
Mr. Chairman, to the councilman, the tax revenue that we wouldn't be collecting off the properties.
To the chair, may I instill something there? May I say something else, sir? Council President?
You may.
So I think the verbiage here needs to be corrected. The county is not losing any money. If this development never happens, the county continues to collect the tax dollars that are on it now. The only thing the county is doing is they are delaying the increase in what they would receive once this TIF legislation expires. Yes, it is many years down the road, I understand that. But if we don't do this development, the county's not going to collect anything because 2 of the properties are owned by the city of Brooklyn, which are tax exempt. So to say the county is losing money is, in my opinion, not an accurate statement. It's just delaying the increase of what they would be receiving had the development not taken place.
And I said harm, so I don't know if Greg said it, losing. So to the chair, to Mr. Huth, and I sympathize with the city, and I know we're in a situation, but you stated that even though our ORC was a little different, we as a county have done this for other cities. You stated for Cleveland.
No, Mr. Chairman, let me clarify. The TIF, that huge TIF that City of Cleveland put in place was done under a different section of the Ohio Revised Code that did not allow us to object. These are being done under the again, wonky .40C of 5709, and TIF districts under .40C give the county the opportunity to object.
So have we, in the history of the county, ever objected?
We did to Brecksville back in October. There is one 40C TIF I'm aware of in Independence from 4 or 5 years ago that we did not object to.
So if you
That I'm aware of, anyway.
Yeah, through the chair, if you objected to Brecksville in October, to the mayor's point, it seems like something would have initiated for the county to reach out to all the municipalities to make sure that they were aware, because I don't remember Brecksville coming before us, and, I guess they just took the objection and.
Mr. Chairman, to the councilman, no, we did meet with them. We did not come to an agreement yet with them, so at this point, the expectation is that starting in year 11 of that TIF, we would get half of what we would otherwise get according to the statute. It was October 14, I think, was the day I was here talking about that one. I think that was it. But as to the point of whether or not the policy should have been made known, as I said in the notice that at least Brooklyns get their notices very, very complete, and it specifically says the county may object. They point out, they understand the county may object. So it's, and there's only been one other 40C TIF so far that I'm aware of, so we just started doing this because it's just starting to happen, and there's going to be more of them.
So, to be clear, through the chair, Brecksville, you sat down and negotiated, but it's not finalized yet? Or it is, we have objected?
We have objected. We did not reach agreement. So the expectation now is, starting in year 11, we would get half of what we would otherwise get were the property not exempt.
I think that part I don't understand. Thank you.
So, first of all, I'd like to say to you, Mayor, that you did a spectacularly good job of presenting your case and outlining Brooklyn's point of view. I don't know how it could have been done much better, and it was respectful yet forceful and really well done. And I'm sympathetic to your position, but there's another side to the story, and as the council president, I have to sometimes kind of be the bad guy, and so I just want to say a few things about this. First of all, I do agree with your point that if this in fact is going to be the default position, that we should immediately go out and notify all the other counties all the municipalities in Cuyahoga County that we're very likely to object to any residential TIF districts that are proposed. The second thing is that our objection does not prevent this residential TIF from proceeding. The worst case scenario is that you get 2/3 of the benefit instead of all of it, because under the default position, if there's no other agreement, you get the 400% for the first 10 years, and you get half of it for the next 20 years. So you end up with 2/3 of it. 30 years is a long time. I hear what you said about it doesn't take away any existing revenue. But things happen all the time where things go offline, where property paying structures get demolished, that people default, and things happen all the time where we lose tax revenue, and we depend on some things coming online where we get tax revenue. There has to be a balance between the two, and what you're doing affects not only the county's general fund, but the Health and Human Service Levy Fund and the Board of Developmental Disabilities and the Metro Parks and the Port Authority and the library. It affects a lot of things.
Mr. Chairman?
And the state wisely decided that the municipality should not completely have unilateral authority to divert that revenue for 30 years. It narrowed it a little bit, and and gave the county the power to negotiate for a third of it. So, and the dollars are not inconsequential. Our numbers, and I have a lot of confidence in our analysis, is that it's $650,000 over 20 years. And that's only our part of it, the general fund and the levy fund. And if you consider everybody, the total amount diverted is going to be, is estimated around 6 million. And even if we do the default position, 100% for 10 years, 50% for 20 years, you're still going to get somewhere around 4 million. It should be enough to pay for the infrastructure. And, you know, we contacted your finance director. We told you, tell us how you got your numbers, because they're not the same as ours, and we didn't get any response back.
On that point, Mr. Chairman, I'm the one that told him to call the finance director because I thought that was the proper place to go. That's my history. And when I talked to the mayor, he said, Marty, you're wrong. It's the bond council. So it was 100% me why they didn't get the call back. So they cannot lay blame on them. I talked to Trevor, and Trevor, I said, you were there, and it was my fault.
Even if we take your numbers 15,000 over 15,000, if it's over 20 years or over 30 years, it's still at least 300,000. It's not insignificant. So that's where I am. I think I appreciate your concern. We support the project. We think it. We don't think this project is incapable of being done without the full 100% for 30 years. If that's the case, you got to make that case to the administration when you do the negotiation.
Let me
So-
just final it up, and then I'll be done. You said the worst-case scenario is 75%, and you just hit it on the head. The worst-case scenario is the project doesn't move forward, and that's going to be part of the discussions. And then, with my math, $2 million, it's the bottom line, it's $100,000 a year for the 20 years after that we'll be talking about. So that's from our numbers. So that's my two last points. One, the worst-case scenario is it doesn't move forward. And number two, we're talking about $100,000 for 20 years in years 2011 to 2030. So thank you.
Well, I'll conclude on a more positive note. It's my fervent hope that that you meet with the administration and that you come to a solution that that enables the project to go forward. I haven't gone through all the math of it. I don't know what that is. You know, my intuitive sense is that that 100% for 10 years and 50% for 20 years ought to be enough, but maybe it's not. So, but I hope that you and the administration are able to drill down on that and come to a solution that enables you to go forward. I would not want to see this project fail because of this.
May I speak one more last time?
Yes, you may.
Thank you, Council President. And there's certainly no hard feelings here. I just disagree with it. Again, the county is not losing any money. if this development does not go forward. And this development is going to go forward. The city of Brooklyn is committed to it. It's going to go forward. I would like for the county to partner with us in doing this. And my biggest concern, and that's why I said at the outset of here, is the fact that the communities in this county were not informed of this policy. Had we been informed of this policy, these conversations would have happened months ago, and I would not be standing here monopolizing your time and delaying your discussions of further legislation. But that's my biggest issue, is that they weren't. And I was taken very much by surprise by it, based upon our TIF counsel, who had said there's been no objections in her past. As far as the dollar amount goes, it was not our finance director that did that. It was our TIF counsel. I would be happy to share with this council now that we have spoken. I did not want to send that information prior to me being here so we could have this discussion. I'll be happy to send that to you. I have full confidence in our TIF counsel. This law firm and this lady that is doing this has been doing it for years, and she's very, very well versed in it. So I'll be happy to pass that along to you. So I thank you for your time. I appreciate the questions. Again, I would ask you to withdraw the objection, and at the very least, at least inform the other 58 communities in this county that this is going to be the administration's policy moving forward.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, we will consider at the council meeting at 5 o'clock whether or not to add the two resolutions, the one for this one and the one for independence, onto the agenda.
Thank you for your time.
Mr. President, I would like the record to reflect that Councilmember Simon is in attendance.
Thank you. All meetings of the Cuyahoga County Council are open to the public under the Open Meetings Law. Under that law, council may go into executive session during a meeting for specifically authorized purposes. During executive session, council confers outside of the hearing of the public. Council may not make any decisions about any matters in executive session. All decisions are made in public. This afternoon, the council will go into executive session for the purpose of discussing collective bargaining matters and pending or imminent court action. During this time, our live stream will be down, and we ask all those not specifically needed for the executive session to remain in council chambers. Council members will convene in the adjacent committee room A and will re-enter the meeting once the executive session has ended. Is there a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing collective bargaining matters and pending or imminent litigation?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, and the motion requires a roll call.
Ms. Conwell? Mr. Jones? Mr. Jones is absent at the moment. Ms. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Hauser? Ms. Simon? Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Castleberry?
Yes.
Mr. Gallagher? Mr. Schlepper?
Yes.
Council President Miller?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you very much. The ayes have it, and we will adjourn to the meeting for executive session. The executive session has ended. We are back in session for the committee of the whole. Does anyone have any miscellaneous business? Hearing none, the committee of the whole is adjourned, and we will be back in session for the regular council meeting at 5 o'clock.